an important conversation, one that matters more to me, certainly in this business, than any other, and that is our right to speak freely. We can't do this if we're not allowed to speak freely. And I feel much better about the state of things, knowing who's in charge right now on that front. But I'm very, very mindful that once upon a time, when Donald Trump was out of office and trying to run for office, I've put together a montage for you before. It's way too long to play right now, but it's literally over 3 minutes of people cutting Donald Trump, the candidate, off. They wouldn't cover it. They wouldn't bring you any news about him. In fact, they would say things like, we're not going to carry this because it's just a laundry list of his grievances and half-truths, if total lies, and we'll let you know if Trump says something important. We're going to go to more important things. Jake Tapper, one of the worst on this. Their natural instinct is to silence voices in opposition. They couldn't do it, thankfully, because there's too much diversity in media right now in the United States. But just as a reminder, their natural state is censorship. Caroline Leavitt recently visited CNN. I didn't even know she's still going there, but she did, talking with Cassie Hunt, one of their anchors. Here's how that went, 36.
So it takes someone 5 minutes to Google Jake Tapper, Donald Trump, to see that Jake Tapper has consistently,
we're going to stop this interview if you're going to keep attacking my colleagues.
Adolf Hitler.
Ma'am, I'm going to stop this interview if you continue to attack my colleagues. I would like to talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who you work for.
Yes.
If you are here to speak on his behalf, I am willing to have this conversation.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay.
Now,
I'm sorry, guys. We're going to come back out to the panel. Caroline, thank you very much for your time. You are welcome to come back at any point. She is welcome to come back and speak about Donald Trump, and Donald Trump will have equal time to Joe Biden when they both join us now at later this week in Atlanta for this.
So that was that was about a little over a year ago, actually. It wasn't recent. Sorry, it was a little over a year ago. It was right before the debates. Oh, Donald Trump will have equal time, but for right now, shut up and get out of here. If you're going to talk about things you want to talk about, you're not welcome here. But anyway, I play that, so my mistake. Caroline has not appeared there recently. I didn't think so. My point in playing that, though, it's just a reminder of where we could go very, very easily if the right folks aren't in charge. And here to talk about that is Patrick Hedger. He is the director of policy at a company called Net Choice. I was reading a little bit about Net Choice, netchoice.org this morning. And this is I'm shorthanding this, Patrick, but Net Choice exists broadly just to keep the internet free of overzealous people like Cassie Hunt. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, thank you for having me. NetChoice is a trade association. We're dedicated to keeping the internet safe for free enterprise and free expression. So right on there.
Easy enough. Easy enough. Now, just recently, Donald Trump went across the pond. He was standing there with the Prime Minister of the UK, and a member of the media asked a question about the First Amendment, and the Prime Minister jumped in right away. You probably saw it and said, oh, no, the First Amendment, free speech is welcome here. Things are great here. We're aces with free speech. And I referenced earlier that J.D. Vance gave one of the most important speeches I think he's like any politician's ever given in modern times at the Munich Security Conference earlier in the year on this very issue, which brings us to today and why you're here. Officially now, in effect, in the UK, is the Online Silencing Act. Can you explain it, Mr. Hedger?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a far more appropriate name for it. The Online Safety Act is a UK piece of legislation, it's now a law, that is designed, very well intended, as they always are, to try and keep people, particularly children, safe online. The result, however, has been that the vast majority of popular websites have been locked off to users unless they show their ID. And you also see examples of smaller websites, blogs, and niche communities where people gather and share information shutting down because they simply can't deal with the level of compliance and the potential penalties for crossing the Online Silencing Act, the Online Safety Act. So a huge chilling effect of speech in a Western country, and all in the name, again, of safety and security.
Naturally, J.D. Vance speaking out about this, I'm reading a little bit of his transcripts, Patrick Hedger. In Britain and across Europe, he says, free speech, I fear, is in retreat. And in the interest of comedy, my friends, but also in the interest of truth, I will admit that sometimes the loudest voices for censorship have come not from within Europe, but from within my own country, where the prior administration threatened and bullied social media companies to censor so-called misinformation. And, of course, we're finding out more and more every single day. In fact, I've got a new news story today that the New York Times actively worked with James Comey and the FBI, literally actively, post what was revealed as completely untrue, the Russiagate hoax. Media and social media, and we know this, actively corroborated with government to silence voices on things like COVID or the Hunter Biden laptop. So it's very real and very possible here. That's what makes what happened in the UK, what you just described, so chilling. They've embraced it fully there. There's absolutely an appetite for it here.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have legislation at the federal level that is moving. We have OSA in the United Kingdom, and in the United States, there is a piece of legislation called COSA, and it is the Kids Online Safety Act. Again, all in the name of protecting children. Who could be against that? Obviously, people want to keep kids safe online, but the devil is in the details with these pieces of legislation. The Kids Online Safety Act, the U.S. version, and the OSA in the United Kingdom, really, they come from the same framework. They share a lot of the same DNA. If you put them side by side, the provisions go in almost the exact same order in terms of obligations. And so what we're seeing in the United Kingdom is legal speech being silenced, people having to show ID to participate in social media, and that would happen under COSA, the U.S. version. And that is gaining sponsors in the Senate right now. It's been stopped in the House because of House leadership the last couple years. So we have to stay vigilant because a lot of the same things, again, that we're seeing in the United Kingdom are all within this bill here in the United States. And they've packaged it in such a way that it has such a sympathetic title and such a sympathetic purpose that people are not paying attention to the really nasty details that are inside it.
Yeah, they always couch the most totalitarian stuff in the floweriest language. They did that with a lot of the green agenda for a very long time until the people got wise. But see, this is one of those things that if you're sleeping on it and you fall victim to it, it's too late. This is very hard to put the toothpaste back in the tube once it's out. Isn't that right, Patrick?
Yeah, absolutely. And what we're seeing with this bill, the COSA, is that that censorship regime that you referred to, where you had government pressuring social media companies in terms of what is and what is not acceptable speech, that becomes codified under COSA. You create a new office within the Federal Trade Commission that essentially gets to decide what type of content social media companies should be trying to take down. And a lot of that would be perfectly legal speech under the First Amendment, but it is deemed in a subjective sense, it's deemed harmful to children in some way, shape, or form. But that's a decision that shouldn't be made by government. That's a decision that should be made by parents. That's why we have systems like the movie rating system, which is a voluntary system. It's a private rating system, and it ultimately lets parents decide if they're going to take their kids to an R-rated movie or not. Perhaps it has historical value, for example. COSA doesn't have that distinction, and again, it very much so copies what we're seeing in the United Kingdom, where people are being asked to show their ID to listen to music on Spotify. That is how severe this has become.
He's Director of Policy at NetChoice, netchoice.org. His name is Patrick Hedger, talking about what happened in UK, now officially the law of the land in the UK, called the Online Safety Act. It's chilling because it so easily could happen here. Again, we've seen it play out. We've heard people like Hillary Clinton say, we've got to do something about these disparate voices online that are spreading propaganda, whatever she deems propaganda. They openly say it. John Kerry used to say about the Green Movement. Again, I've got a whole montage I just don't have time to play of Democrats in this country saying, yeah, we could get our green energy stuff passed if it weren't for the damned internet and all these people yapping at one another about it and giving these mistruths. If we controlled the way everybody talked, we'd have a much easier time controlling the folks. They just say it. Patrick Hedger, out loud, unabashed, proud. They want to control your speech if they can. And the internet is one of the greatest threats to politicians, I think, in 2025. Don't you suppose?
Yeah, I mean, to your point, it's the diversity in media that we now have because of the internet. It's the decentralization of media. And unfortunately, we see so many politicians on both the left and the right. There are the Kids Online Safety Act that we've been talking about in the United States
yes.
has bipartisan co-sponsorship. They are trying to essentially interrupt this media landscape that we're on right now that didn't exist prior to the internet.
Patrick, I'm so glad you're here talking about this. We will have you back. Thank you, my friend.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.